We see throughout the life and ministry of Jesus Christ that he was often around people, or should I say, people around him, which makes sense, right? He healed people, helped people, taught people, and so it makes sense that he'd be around people. But then oftentimes Jesus would withdraw from the crowd, right? If you read your New Testament, you see that this is a common phrase. Jesus withdrew from the crowd. Jesus withdrew from the crowd. In Luke 5, we see after Jesus heals a man with leprosy, he instructs the man by saying, don't tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest and offer sacrifices that Moses commanded for your cleansing, as a testimony to them. Then he says, yet the news about him spread all the more, so that crowds of people came to hear him and to be healed of their sicknesses. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed, right? And so we see a pattern in the life of Christ, or better yet, a lesson that I believe Jesus is trying to teach us, is that as soon as the crowds would grow, Jesus would withdraw. As soon as he would enter an area and his fame would spread, that would almost as if it was a trigger for him to withdraw to lonely places and pray, right? And so if Jesus did this, how much more should we, right? The more we advance as a society, the definition of what society means changes, right? Back in the day, if you wanted to meet up with someone, you would actually have to go and meet up with them in person. Nowadays, anyone is just a text away, not even a call. You don't even have to hear their voice. And so back in the day, you wanted to go buy groceries, you'd go to the marketplace. Now you want to buy a product, you still go to the marketplace, but it's an online marketplace. And so our society transitions from this physical society into this virtual style society. And I'm a firm believer that if social media existed back in Jesus's day, the apostles would be using and making the most of this tool of this virtual square that we reside in now to spread the message of the gospel. Because where were the apostles? The apostles were all out, going throughout the towns. And now we have these virtual towns and we have people at our fingertips, and we should be making the most of this tool, right? But then there's a catch that comes along with that, because as soon as the crowds would grow, right? And as soon as his influence would grow, Jesus would withdraw. And so, yes, making the most of this tool, that is social media, to build the kingdom and grow the kingdom. But then that same influence that Jesus would withdraw from, each and every one of us has that influence at our fingertips constantly, right? Well, that also depends on how much influence you have and how popular you are on social media. But using that influence, yes, build the kingdom, grow the kingdom, reach people with the message of the gospel. And social media is also a great tool to study your Bible, right? What a great resource. How many different Bible versions we have out there at our fingertips, how many different commentaries and so on and so forth. There's this great tool that I use to study the Bible that's called Bible Thinker. It's run by this guy Mike Winger, who has a YouTube channel, Christian YouTube channel. But then at the same time, just constantly being aware of our sin nature and this innate desire that we all have for attention and for worship, and then constantly using that as an opportunity to disconnect from the culture, from this virtual square that we live in, and then reconnect with the Father in these so-called lonely places, right? And then so also the prayer, not just being a ritualistic style prayer where you just mindlessly repeat the same thing over and over, but an intentional prayer with this understanding that God is your source, and that without him, he's your understanding, he's your wisdom, and being able to maximize and use this tool to spread the gospel, but constantly with this large influence that we have, constantly drawing back to these lonely places, just constantly remembering who our source is. So yeah, in a nutshell, Christians can use social media. I mean, it's practically a miracle that we have social media as a tool that we can use. So work hard, study hard, spread the gospel, but at the same time constantly come back and remember who your source is. Yeah, that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, and please leave a like below, comment as well below, and yeah, we just want to build a community here, having a resource, an online resource for believers to come to look at. Also, if you find value from this channel, would you please hit the subscribe button? We drop a main sermon style episode on Mondays, and then on Thursdays and Fridays I do devotionals, and then my partner, who is with me on the main episode, she'll also start doing devotionals once a week as well. And we also have a Patreon. If you'd like to support us there, you can go and support us via Patreon. The link is in the description. Anyway, enjoy your week. Love you. Bye.